So this is the massive document, 287 pages. I've read through maybe 100 of them in the span of 20 or so minutes. I don't want to make this like a 5-hour video, so I'm going to try and get through it as quick as possible without leaving out the important stuff. Obviously, I don't know if I'm going to address every nitty-gritty thing that's going on, but I do want to address the more serious allegations. So the stuff about, I don't know, they talk about a lot of things. They talk about grooming, they talk about personality cults, anti-Semitism, racism, whatnot. I think everyone knows that Octavium is kind of a right-wing Christian group. I think everyone knows that when it comes to that subject of, Israel influences the West, and whatnot, that kind of rhetoric is not really a big deal. I mean, obviously, if someone's going around and like calling black people the N-word and saying death to black people, that's different. But I'm not going to address things like that. What I am going to address is this Freya thing first and foremost, because that's the most, in my opinion, the most, I think, bold and dangerous allegation. And a lot of it is out of context. A lot of it is really just stuff that half is real or half is out of context, I think, is the best way to put it. A lot of this is already addressed in my document, What's the Big Deal? But there are some new screenshots and some new testimonies. One of the big allegations, though, in this paragraph I want to address, they claim that she was age 16 at the time, and whatnot. I said, you can talk about organizing transportation in public, stuff like that. My response to that is, if she was going to get flown out, why hasn't she been flown out? Why has she been driven out? Why has nothing happened in regards to her, and she's almost 18 in 3 months? I know somewhere in this, they accuse her of also being a year younger than she actually is. I've heard this story before, and this is what I know and heard about Freya. So, if I'm correct, she turns 18 in August. So, they're saying that when Moors tried to groom her, and when the Frisky situation happened, they claimed that she was 15, right? So Frisky dated her when around mid to early 2023. I think it went into late 2023, but that was when she dated her, and she was 15. Her birthday is in August, so that would mean in August she would turn 16. So that means in late December, when she had first joined the community, she would have been 16 years old. So I don't know if that's consistent with what they're saying, because I've heard other things like, she was 15, and I don't know how I feel about that, but a lot of this cousin stuff is already addressed in the document. I'm going to link it in the video. But they just make a lot of allegations saying that the relationship was about love, loyalty, and marriage, ignoring the obviously age difference and vast power imbalance. So let's focus on this person, this Freya girl, okay? So she is 17 years old based on the ID I've seen, based on what I've been told, and a lot of it is miscommunication. When people came to me and said that she was younger, or when people come to me and say, she claimed this and that, I think it's a matter of confusion. I think because people hear about the Moore situation, and they hear about the Fisk situation, like, that was in late 2024 after August, so she was 15 then too. I think it's also, it could be people making it up, for all I know. People are saying that she's not this age, she's not that age. At the end of the day, I mean, whether she's 16 or 17, if people are worried about teaching about Christian values, I don't see it in the document, but that's like the main concern. She's friends with Alexander. He talks to her about the Bible. They do Bible study, and they do this and they do that. I don't think that's a big deal. When we start saying that I made promises of marriage to her and love and loyalty, I think that these are exaggerations. In the document, and also in VCs, I've joked about, I'm like, she's going to grow up and marry me. Or, when she turns 18, she's going to fly out and marry me, because we're making fun of this idea. We're making fun of, she wants to obsess over me and fly out and do this, and this with me. And making light of it, making fun of it, I don't think makes it dangerous. People have asked me, would you ever unironically date her? Would you ever unironically do this with her? And I usually just like, bro, no, I'm not interested. But it's like, when they start saying, what about in 2 years? Someone asked me the other day in BC, what if he was 19? I'm like, look, if you're so obsessed about this, if she moves to America in a year or anytime soon, and she's wanting to date me and wants to meet me, I said, I'll entertain that in a few years or whatever. But, just because I said that doesn't mean that I want to fly her out now and date her now. Okay. That's what a lot of this looks like people are doing. And that's like the best way I can respond. Obviously, it's going to be screenshots. There's going to be testimonies that I'm going to directly address. And then what I might do is just make separate videos for each one because I don't want to bore people. Some will hear more about the doxing, some will hear more about the grooming allegations, whatever. It would seem that's kind of where this is at. So this conversation with War Commander, what I will say is a lot of it was kind of rage bait. Like I think at one point I said like, oh, well, the age of consent in the papal states is like 14 or something. Like, are you going to go raise age consent there? And the argument behind that was not that I was advocating to lower it. The argument was that he was making this really big deal about Cole, or no, I think it was Brum Moment. And for the record, before I go into Colt and Brum Moment stuff, both of those guys were gone. People have come to me and said, like, why aren't they banned? And I would say, like, well, because I haven't seen proof of them soliciting nudes or sex, which is true. Like, sure, I haven't seen their side of the document yet, but from what I've already seen, a lot of it is him joking around, you could call it flirtatious, you could call it weird, but at no point did he try to meet up with her or solicit her for anything sexual. And Brumwell's chat log with, what was her name? With Leah was very similar. I heard that they had a VC, he got drunk, he said, like, I love you or something, and the next day he apologized, and both of these guys were addressed in private. Now, I didn't say that in public that I did that, but in private I addressed both of them and said, okay, I don't think you guys are pedos, but what happened is weird, and there has to be consequences. In the case of Brum Moment, he was basically blacklisted from everything, and I think originally he left the server in the group. And a few weeks later, a few days later, he rejoined, and I think at that point we're just like, okay, it's like, I don't know if we're going to ban him. I kind of was like, look, like if this Leah shit continues or if something else happens, then we'll ban him. And Leah came to us and said, look, like he was really drunk, this isn't a big deal, we're still friends, it was an accident, and moved on. And they were still friends, well, I don't know if I'd say they were still friends, but they were still like Discord friends for months. So it was like, okay, well, clearly this wasn't that big of a deal then. And another thing I want to bring up is that Leah, a lot of people thought that Leah was 16. Not that it's a big deal, or sorry, not that it's makes much of a difference, but it's like, come on, like, I think that if someone assumes that, they're a little bit more comfortable or whatever, which again isn't an excuse. These guys are banned. Like they're saying they're listing this guy's gone. They listed this guy retired. And I mean, it doesn't mean we're not down with blacklisting them. If the evidence is incriminating, we'll do that. But I don't want to go through all of these yet. Some of these guys aren't even in Octavium. Like Terminal has not been in Octavium for months. That guy hates me. He's threatened to dox me. He's threatened a lot of things with me. I don't know why he's in this document. This guy just joined the group. He merged an entire group into my group. We made him general. I heard that a couple of years ago when he was 13, he did some stuff like he joked about grooming a girl or something, among other things. And I'm like, well, the guy was 13, but I'll look into it. The Inquisition made a dossier on this guy, and they plan on removing him probably within the next couple of days, because upon further research, they came to find out that this guy apparently he like made death threats and stuff. And I haven't looked into this stuff. What this document did is it threw a bunch of this shit together, and they're like, okay, we're not going to tell you about it. We're not going to DM you and say, hey, we have this evidence to remove this person. We're going to throw all this shit into a document, and then we're going to say that you didn't remove them. Well, you can't really do that when you even come to me about these people and say, like, hey, this guy did this, remove him. When you just compile it and save it in a document and then release it, that's not really fair. But like I said, I don't think we're really going to focus on other people. I think I'll be more concerned about my side of the story, and this is getting kind of long. So I want to address this. This was sent to an Alexander bot. You can tell because you'll see she says, I'm just a girl. It's called Freya's. And she says things like, it'll come up like, you fall in love with me. And she does the astrofixes, right? The reason why she's doing that is because it was a bot. And she was training the bot to like be romantic with her as a means of like, what should I call it? I mean, it's weird behavior. I don't know why this is being tied into me. But to say this was in my DMs is a complete and total lie. Obviously, I can't really prove it, but if you look at the DMs, it just doesn't make any sense. This is supposed to be sent to me. Hi, I'm a girl. Hi. Yes, Alec. Okay, I'm just a girl. It's an Italian restaurant. It's called Freya's. It's not like she's talking to a bot and providing an input for the bot to give her context to who she is and what's going on. Look it, see? He falls in love with me. You begin to calm down, falling in love with me. This sounds like she's putting in a prompt for a bot, because that's what she was doing. And anyone that remembers this at the time, this was what, 10, 19, 24, remember, there was an Alexander bot, and there was an issue where people would DM it to mess around with it. This is her putting in other prompts, giving her context. Oh, because the other girl couldn't get those jobs, so I need to create a threat route instead. She's not, it's not like I have dementia and she's giving me her life story because I forgot. She's doing that because she's giving a prompt for a bot. So, did they clarify that this wasn't, despite not seeing these messages, it prints rather a certain picture about shooting what seems like roleplay. Yeah, with the bot, not with me. Ultis house was fristable. This has already been addressed in the no big deal document. This doesn't mean anything. The reason why I told Malta this was because Malta was freaking out saying Freya isn't trustworthy, she could betray you, she's a honeypot, she's this, she's that. And he was getting annoying. He was getting really annoying, and he wouldn't shut up about it. So was it exaggerated to say that? Yeah, but does it mean anything? No. You know, this was sent to a guy who could have leaked it out of context. It's not like a private DM where it's like, don't tell anyone I said I own her, you know. And so, and then there's also this part where I say she wants to fly out and marry an Octavium, which is true. She would always flirt the idea of doing this in general. And there was always guys like people were trying to set her up with and stuff. But again, this doesn't really show that I'm grooming her or whatever. This is me making fun of people saying that she's being groomed, and me saying, yeah, nobody cares about this whole situation because no one does. This is an exaggeration. We're trying to make this seem like some kind of grooming pedo shit when this is a Christian girl, or she wasn't always a Christian girl, but when she met me, she became one, and someone who I've mentored and helped to grow in her life. I don't really think I need to address this. This is her talking about her sending me stuff in the mail. Again, this stuff is all no big deal document. I'll link in the description. You can read it. But as the document says, if you read no big deal, Patrick and Freya worked together to make me a birthday present. Among it included an Octavian flag, and it included letters and other stuff or whatever. And it's like, who organized this? Who gave her the P.O. box? Who gave her the address? And I think Ethel, and I talked about this in person, Ethel said, didn't Patrick send you letters? Didn't Patrick, send you letters and stuff? And I'm like, yeah. She got this idea from Patrick. That's who she got the idea from. So obviously, if she gets the idea from Patrick, that's why she's doing this. Because she's inspired by him. It's not me, this is her, what she's doing at Patrick's behest. Because Patrick, I don't want to throw him completely under the bus, but he thought it was just a nice gesture. He thought it was something kind to do. It's weird. You can look at the no big deal document, but that's what happened. I'm trying to unpack. I know what's wrong. It's my birthday's my gift. I'm like, oopsies. I'm gonna wake up. If I am, I'm gonna write a big paragraph to send. I don't know if I'd say I was very mad, but I was like, you lost it? I'm like, really? You lost it in the mail? Like, what is wrong with you? I wouldn't say I fumed the mouth. But it's like, yeah, she made an Octavian flag. I knew about that they were planning on doing that. And I told everyone about it. I'm like, yeah, she's making an Octavian flag, which I thought was cool. That's not really true. I guess in the document, it's trying to dox me. Who was his parents? Who was his mom? If I hear one person get exposed for playing with a 17-year-old girl, I'm going to get 17 years to piss everyone off. And that was clearly a joke. Was it in bad taste? You could say it's in bad taste. But the point of me making jokes like that is to show that our society is messed up. That if a girl is 17 years and 11 months and 29 days old and 3 hours old, and you flirt with her or you do anything with her, then you are a pedo or whatever. That's illegal. No, it's not. It's not illegal in 38 states. It's not illegal in most of the world. Okay? Am I saying that people should do that? That should be like an obsession with people? No. But it's retarded to say that this is something that's really, really, really bad. Okay? What if she was 18 and 1 month years old. Would that make any difference? So why are people freaking over a 40-day age gap? And I've been saying this for years because it needs to be said. It needs to be said that this cancel culture that's applying to 20-year-olds flirting with 17-year-olds is not a big deal, okay? You could call it weird. You could say that it goes against feminist principles, but is it illegal? No. As a matter of fact, in states and countries where age consent is 18, they have age gap exception laws. The same also applies for those under that age. So to say it's illegal is totally false. To say it's immoral, I don't know if I'd say that either. That's a girl that could be out of high school. That's a girl that could be in college. You know what I mean? I just think that this is, a massive exaggeration. And that's what it is. What are you going to do? File a police report against me? I can call Jolie hot right now. There's nothing you can do about it. And you can ask Jolie herself, who I believe is 18, if I'm not mistaken. And she'll tell you that I've never done anything weird with her or flirted with her or whatever. She's Asian. I'm not into that kind of stuff anyway. But this is what I mean. Oh, he said he was going to flirt with Jolie, making a big deal out of it. Wow, so I deserve to get banned and destroyed and my life ruined because I made this joke. Oh, okay. So, and this is me just saying I told Freya to work on her cardio all the time. She got pretty lazy with it. It's true. I tell all my members this. The first value of Octavium is strength. I tell my members, work out, look good, get a job. Okay? It's about looking good and looking presentable. And I'm not saying that Freya's like overweight or anything. It's just me encouraging that. And I don't think that's a big deal. Again, we're addressing a girl who's 17. Is this really a big deal? Alec admitted to dating Freya, 16-year-old, while being 22, in a VC with like 30 people. Well, you'd think if this was true, those 30 people would be testifying that it happened. It would be recorded or something. Kind of retarded to say this in a screenshot because you just threw out, this makes no sense. Before he admitted it, I was told by another woman in Octavium that she was given access to her Snapchat by Freya and saw Alec calling her babe. I don't call people babe. He's also publicly extremely protective of Freya to the point where it's weird, firing and attacking people who try to recruit her in the Octavian military. No, she was in the military and she got blacklisted because when she was in the military, she just trolled all the time. She was trolling, she was flirting with, I don't know if I'd say she was, but guys were messing with her, giving her attention and stuff, so on and so forth. So it's like, yeah. So she's been blacklisted since then, and we let her rejoin the military, and it just caused more problems. Yeah, I don't want to pay for her nitro. Because she always begs everyone to pay for her nitro. It's not just me. Might as well include the 20 other guys that she asked to pay for her nitro. But it wasn't like like a credit or debit or like in the traditional sense of a bank. It was like a gift card or something. Because that would be stupid to just give someone your entire credit card information. And I know how this can look, but again, this is the worst thing. Oh, he gave her the credit card. This is proof they're in a close relationship. This is supposedly after they broke up. However, they still keep in close contact. These narratives just don't really make any sense. They broke up, but they're still in close contact. Okay. Or they just never dated in the first place. How does it even work? She lives across the Atlantic Ocean. How do you date someone who lives across the Atlantic Ocean? That doesn't work. You can't date someone like that. Again, this doesn't really make me look bad. This is her. Sure, I'm getting bored of Alec because I'm dry and I'm not giving her attention and I'm not doing much with her. And I think in the document they say, like, they talk about how Freya is crying about how I don't give her that much attention, how I'm always busy, how I'm doing other stuff. Doesn't that prove my innocence? If me and her are in this relationship, wouldn't I be constantly talking to her and constantly doing stuff with her and being clingy and whatnot? So why are there also narratives that I was dry with her, that I'm not talking to her, I'm not really entertaining her? stuff like that. Groomed and doxxed by Moors. No. Yeah, he was like, I'll fly her over here and get married when she's 18. That's not what I said. This guy's lying about how sex is only penetration. I don't know what he's talking about there. But the thing about getting her... No. I didn't say I would fly her out. I said that a nice guy should, like, take good care of her because of the way that he treated her. Because Frisky, the way he treated her was disgusting. If you read the chat logs between Frisky and Freya, it's her saying she wants something traditional, she wants something nice and wholesome, and it's him saying, literally, to send her nudes. And I criticize him on that. And then he goes on this rant about how Freya, she only was good for the body, I don't care about anything. It was just gross shit. And I got tired of it, that's all he was talking about, so I actually had, it's like, that's great, Frisky, but, and I said what I said, which pissed him off. He got really pissed off. Not because he thought it was like inappropriate or because I inserted myself in the picture, but because I was actually, for the first time in my life, not being a misogynist, I guess. But jokes aside, he makes this big thing and says there was like 4 people in the call that can vouch for me. All right, well, where are they? Because last I checked, both of them can vouch that call was, nothing like that was being said. Groomed and doxxed by Moors. Now she's getting groomed by Alec. I'm the guy that exposed Moors. Are you kidding me? And I'm planning to fly her out to the United States. When? She turns 18 in, 2 months now? When is this happening? When is this underage meetup happening? Because I keep hearing that he's going to fly her out. When is this happening? Her parents would have to know about it if that was even possible. Do these people even understand the laws and how these things work? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't really add up. But throw it in the document because it makes me look bad. This is true. When I was 15, I dated an 18-year-old. I'm not going to reveal who she is, but they probably say who she is in this document, which I don't appreciate. But yeah, that's true. When I was 15, I dated an 18-year-old, and it was a normal relationship. No one batted an eye. Nobody cared. And I made a statement where I said that if the roles were switched, it would have worked out better. And I know that people are saying, oh, but that's illegal. It's like, no, Roma Juliet laws would apply. And that's not what happened. The roles weren't switched. It was a theory that I was giving War Commander to rage bait him, but also to make a point. Because the 18-year-old girl was very arrogant. She had a lot of experience. And because of all that experience, she made a very bad girlfriend. She was very arrogant. She was very distrusting. I was very inexperienced. If it was the other way around, because she always complained about me being inexperienced and me being, I don't know, not very experienced and not very not knowing what I was doing, right? So unironically, that would be true. Okay? You can say it sounds wrong, it sounds bad, but it's true. So she can do that, but I can't. That's all I'm doing. I mean, is this document supposed to be like a feminist document? Because if she does it, it's fine. If I do it, I'm a grooming pedophile. This is the part that I referred to earlier. Let me see where we're at we're at 23 minutes. So, yeah, and I made another point because he was saying, like, oh, this guy's a pedophile, Christ is going to crucify him, or whatever he was saying. I don't know if he said that. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But he was basically making the point, like, this guy needs to be killed, he needs to be exposed, he needs to be doxxed in this group chat. And I'm just like, dude, like, calm down, okay? It's not like this guy solicited and begged for nudes from this girl. This guy flirted a little bit with her and then went dry with her. If we're addressing cult, I forget it was Brahma or cult, but either way, that's what happened. And he was saying, we need to dox this guy, we need to blacklist, we need to go and make a big deal and spread all across the genre. And it's like, no, okay, we're going to, first of all, I'm going to speak to him in private and address this to him and say, okay, if you do this again or if you hear anything else about this shit, you're gone. Okay? Second thing I'm going to do is remove him and not make a big deal about it because there's no need to. It's not like there was like 10 victims and to be a great expose. No, this was a girl who, I forget which person this was about. It was Colt or Bra Moment, but this was a girl who was barely 16 or whatever, who he was friends with, and he made some comments like, oh yeah, have an army of kids, having kids is good or whatever. And then he said something else about, I don't know, apparently he called her good girl at one point. And at one point he said, oh, if you're not a Fed, then you need to prove your identity, send a picture. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, but did he beg her for more? Like, did she actually send a picture? Did he say, hey, send me a picture after that? Or did they both laugh it off and move on? Now, if she would have sent pictures, Or if it would have transpired from there into something sexual, yeah, I would say, okay, this is literally pedophilic, you're banned. But it obviously didn't go in that direction. He never solicited her for nudes. He never solicited her for sex. Last I checked, that's a crime. Having someone as a Discord friend and saying things that sound flirtatious or weird is not really a crime. I mean, prove me wrong if it is, but that was what I judged it on. That's what I based it on. So, if that makes me evil, I guess it makes me evil. But anyway, this was rage bait for the most part, and it was making a point because he was saying like, oh well, because I think at that point there was some confusion about the age, about whether she was 15 or 16, and I think I made a statement about, I don't have the chat log, it was in a group chat, but I made a statement, I'm like, if it was 16, like, you know, that's age of consent. You know, I'm saying, like, he didn't do anything. Like, had he done something, it would have still been weird, and I would have done something. But, like, you know, let's say that, you know, you feel like this is very dangerous. It's like, he didn't commit a crime. And he was still freaking out about it. Saying, we need to increase the age of consent. It's 18, it's not 16, da-da-da. And he was, like, making this big deal. And I'm like, okay, well, in the Vatican, the age of consent is, like, 14 or something. Are you going to go to the Vatican and then try to raise their age of consent? You know, and I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just saying, like, he's making this big deal about age of consent laws and how 16 is too young or whatever. It's like, okay, well, in some countries like the Vatican, it's, and I think it's not. I think there's, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying, like, that's how it is in some countries. And you know, I obviously, how the age of consent is currently in America is fine. It's 16 in most states, 17 in some states. I've never advocated to increase or lower it or change anything about it, you know? And that's the way it's going to remain. That's the way it is in most of the world. And people that freak out about, like I said, she was 17 in 5 months. Okay, so if she was 18, he could just pound the shit out of her and he's a great guy. But if she's 17 and he flirts, he's a pedophile? It doesn't, I just don't agree with that. And I think voicing that is not a bad thing. I don't think voicing that makes me suspicious or weird. I think it's just a valid point. This is just her obsessing over me. This is already addressed in the no big deal document. I'm not going to cover this because it's all in the no big deal document. I don't need to go over this. Yeah, that's my Snapchat. Go ahead and add me if you want. I don't really care. I don't know what that is. He's got 4 months to prove something before it's too late, and you're my next victim. I don't even know who this is addressed to, this deleted user. But okay, yeah, funny joke. Freya, he's grooming Freya. Well, they got 2 months left. She's going to be 18. It's going to be too late. I don't know. I think they're saying this is Freya, but it's me making fun of it. Because it is silly. It's goofy. It's silly. It's like, oh, she's 17 and a half. We have to expose him now before she turns 18. It's too late. We can't expose him. That's literally what's going on here. Because Bullets tells me you're pre-ordering. Pre-ordering you for what? Marriage? Yeah, I'm making fun of it. Again, this is me making fun of it because that's what people are saying. He's grooming her for marriage. He's grooming her for a Catholic marriage. It's like, that's what the narrative is, and it's funny to me. I think it's goofy and it's silly. You know, is that inappropriate? Is that poor handling? I don't know. That's just the way I am. If you think that that's inappropriate, leave the group. I don't know, but that's just the way it is. None of this seems like... Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, see? Freya was crying to Patrick that Alec was ignoring her since he was mad at her, and she would end her life. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I'm ignoring her. I'm not really giving her attention. Nothing's really going on. It's like, this is supposed to be her and I, and it sounds like just her crying that I'm not with her. For like over an hour. I don't think it was over an hour. I remember it being like 30 minutes, but yeah, I called her real quick and introduced her to Aethel, who now is saying, oh, yeah. It's like, if I'm parading her around and saying, oh yeah, meet Freya, you know, if I was like an evil person, why would I be parading her around, introducing her to people and whatnot, you know, stuff like that. It's like they're trying to say that because I was introducing her people, it's weird. I don't understand the logic in that. Oh, he was on call with the 17-year-old for an hour. Wow, you got me. Oh, I'm cooked. My career is ruined. Nick Fuentes is going to banish me from politics now that you've exposed this. I don't know what this means. I don't understand the context there. Expose me for what? So this looks bad because it makes people think like, oh, it must be like a really bad video or something. It must be like a nude or something. And it's her saying of what I made. It's not of her, it's of what it's what she made. Okay, and we can assume that she sent this to someone, right? She sent this to some people about what she made. I'm assuming this is in August. Let's go back to the top. She made me a flag. Oh, and this was around the same time frame that happened. Is it the Octavian flag? Bingo, bingo. The reason why I said this makes it look sus, was because I wasn't sure, like I don't want to be on a plane and it's like you got this girl who's like, hi, like here's the flag. You're like, what are you doing? And I know that looks bad out of context, but provided the context of what I made, it's not a big deal. And if it was something bad, she wouldn't have screenshotted it and sent it to someone, you know? I'm not going to listen to this recording because I don't got time to sit through and listen, so I'll read the transcript. But from what I know, it's just this guy asking her if we've done anything, and her denying it. Vague. Likely avoiding details because Al told her not to share. Oh, okay. She's probably trolling him. I think she was trolling him, and then they're like, oh, this is proof. Put it in the video. When do you plan on meeting Alec? Every single day, every single day, every single day. Maybe once I'm 18. And this is all just her saying about her wanting to meet up with me. This was rage bait. I don't actually agree with this. I've said this multiple times to people. And this is an old screenshot from like a few years ago or whatever. I think a year and a half ago. And I said this because I thought it was funny. I wasn't leading a group at the time. So it's not, I don't even know what server this was in. I don't know if it was the Vibe Tribe or where. But I don't actually agree with this. But I think that if you are going to marry someone, I think that the parental consent is important. I also want to say that although I don't agree with replacing the AOC with father's consent, I don't think that that means pedophilia. I mean, obviously, the reason why it's not based on that is because it can be abused, right? That's why it's based on AOC and not father parental consent, which is how it is in some countries in the Middle East. But I think agreeing with that does not make it pedophilia, because there can be a mandatory father's consent and an age of consent. There can be a minimum, and you got to get permission from the father. So, but anyway, this was rage bait, and I should have given more context, and I should have said what I'm saying now. But I'm not wrong. I don't think that's pedophilia. You know, the only we could say is that it could be abused. How is this okay? This is supposed to be something really bad and evil and despicable. This is a joke. We can't make jokes about gay sex anymore in a private server called the Vibe Tribe. This is me talking about making fun of Journaltron 12 because he wanted some feet pics from little girls. I mean, that's just simply what it is. I don't know what I'm saying this to, but it's probably true. Most times he exposes even like story. He's really just getting feet. Wait, what? Oh yeah. Obviously that was very insensitive to say, but it is kind of an L. I mean, we can't make fun of pedophiles because they can't properly groom a child. Is it insensitive? Yeah, but is it true? I mean, yeah, and it's mocking him. People probably do that to me right now. Oh, you failed to groom Freya. She's 18 now, or whatever. They're probably saying the same thing. So I don't. It's not me. And I literally clarify. I said, and I'm not, like I said, I don't think he's innocent. I literally exposed him. I'm the one that sent in someone to expose him, and he was trying to extort someone. Also, I think I was referring to when he was like 18. I said most of the times. I didn't say all the times. I think I was referring to when he was like 17 and 18. That's what he was doing. He was just begging for feet and stomach pics. And it was just a very, like, retarded thing to do, obviously. You know, he was a pedo. So, and every time he would just get exposed for it, and somehow I'd get away with it. But making fun of him isn't a big deal. This is something I said when I was 16, maybe, or 17. Yeah, you could say it's inappropriate, but are we going to judge what I said at 16, 17? I think I was 17. Because someone else has Riz, you know, I wasn't even a born-again Christian. I think I was a Christian, but, you know, we're trying to leverage stuff on me from when I was 17. I don't know, this isn't really dirt. This was a skit that I did. This isn't an actual ERP. I'm in my uniform in a public game. There's a video about this, and it's literally me trolling the whole time. Also, that was in 2018, or maybe early 2019, so I was 16, messing around, making jokes. Okay. What is this? Testimony from Freya's close friend. I was made aware of Freya and Alex a little into while in my friendship with her. She was a bit worried about telling me because she had promised Alex she wouldn't tell anyone. But according to her, Bachelor already knew. Soon after, I messaged Alec and asked him what was going on between him and Freya. It was basically the time of calling. Okay. I never called her Sugar Plum. That's a lie. Okay, she's lying about this. I never called her a sugar plum. I want to swear that on the Bible. I'm very close to. Because it's a possibility I've called her that as a joke once in my life. But I can promise, I'll say this, to my knowledge, I've never called her a sugar plum unironically. This sounds retarded, but I don't remember ever calling her that. And I've never, they say I called her babe. I don't call her babe. I don't remember ever calling her that unironically or ironically. This is when he's staying at a hotel in Florida. After the minutes from the crate, I logged out. Yeah, a few months later, but I'm not mistaken, I was accusing of Freya. So where are the screenshots? She had access to our DMs and didn't screenshot anything. She got no evidence on what's going on. I don't really know. Okay, so it's just a testimony. Because he was constantly disrespectful about her weight. This is an exaggeration. Again, you know, I've encouraged her to eat healthy. She's a vegetarian. I've said that's a good thing. I've encouraged her to work out and be healthy as a person. That's a good thing. I'm not calling her fat. I'm not saying you're fat and you're a pig. You know, there's a big difference. Anyway. Now they're obviously gone. Okay. That's convenient. She was trying to make consist again. Freya loves Alex so much. I mean, yeah, she probably does, but what does that have to do with me? She's been removed from, she's been removed from the group when these things have happened. You know, distance has been applied because of not because we broke up, but because, or whatever they're trying to say, but because, some of the stuff was kind of inappropriate. And it's like, hey, we gotta have boundaries. We have to establish middle ground, so on and so forth. Howard and I spoke on a call the other day. Let's see where we're at. We're at 39 minutes. Me and Howard spoke on a call the other day, And he admitted, like, yeah, I told them that you were, like, basically grooming for marriage, but it's based. Like, it's going to make you look good, bro. And I'm like, you're an idiot and you're a scumbag because that's not what's going on. And went back and forth for a while. I took some clips. I'll probably upload those later in another video. But I took some clips of what was being said. And at one point, I'm like, dude, like, just because I said that years down the road, if she shows up to America and wants to date me, I'm not going to be opposed to it, doesn't mean that I'm grooming her for marriage. And he was like, well, yeah, but it's when it came off. That's just how it came off. It's like, well, no, because it's between grooming someone for marriage and saying years down the road, if she's interested and she actually moves to America, you know, that's one thing. And it is one thing. It really is. What, is there got to be, if you're 17 and you meet a guy and then you date him at 18, you can't do that? There's like a blacklist on that? Okay, so that's just the Freya stuff. I'm gonna upload this video and then I'm gonna make a new video for the doxing.